My reflection today has something to do with two things that happened to me this past week. One is about a movie that I watched, and second is about a week that I just came from this evening, and it has to do with my reflections on death. I chanced upon Hotel Mumbai, and so I read the synopsis of the film, and it intrigued me. Anything that has to do with movies based on true events always intrigues me. Hotel Mumbai is based on a 2008 uh, Islamic terrorist attack that happened in Mumbai, India back in 2008. And it was a series of uh, 12 coordinated bombings and attacks spread out in different parts of Mumbai. And I'll spare you the gory details. It was a difficult movie to watch. Um, Sana nga fiction eh. How I wish it was just a fictional film. But from start to finish, there's just so much violence and so much gore. It really it just really makes you wonder how much evil there is in the world, and the root of the evil is really the poverty and the misguidance of the uh, 10 young guys, young boys. I wouldn't even say men. 10 young boys who were instructed by their leader, stationed somewhere in Pakistan, to stage this coordinated attack all across Mumbai, India. I don't want to focus on that aspect, no, the terrorist attacks per se. But what really caught my attention in that film was how one decision can spell the difference between you extending your day and you living your last day here on earth. The lead character of that film is Arjun. And Arjun is a very simple waiter who works for the hotel, no? The Taj Hotel, the most iconic hotel in Mumbai. And so the movie begins with him rushing to work, and he hurriedly picks up his bag, and as he picks up his backpack, one of his shoes, work shoes, falls to the ground, but he doesn't notice it because his baby's crying, and so he picks up the baby and gets distracted, no? So the first few minutes, parang he spent forever putting on his, I don't know if it's the right term, his turban. No, he spends forever wearing it, trying to look good before going to work. And sa tagal niya sa bahay, kasi nihintay niya, he was waiting for, I think, his sister-in-law to arrive to take care of his baby. Because it was taking too long, in haste, he just took the baby, his bag, with the shoe. Very important, that detail about the shoe, the one shoe that got left behind. He goes to where his wife works, and she's a humble, very simple labandera. She washes clothes, and you could see they live in poverty. And so he had no choice but to leave the baby with the wife because he was already late for work. So he took his little motorcycle, hurriedly went to the hotel and carried on with his day. Thing was, he arrived at the hotel already late, and he was missing a shoe. So just so that he can, fulfill his lineup, that attendance call where his, the head chef of that hotel was already making a roll call. He was already late. He showed up in his attire but with slippers. And so, of course, the supervisor, the head chef of that hotel, saw his slippers and found it unacceptable. And he said, "Go get shoes, get proper shoes. You're not going to serve any of our guests. Our guests, we consider God. No, I'm not gonna let you serve them if you're gonna wear those slippers. You look like a beggar, you look like a thief." Basta he said something like that, no? So, nung una, parang sabi ko, bad trip naman tong chef na to, paka-judgmental, nakakainis, no? And this poor guy said, "Please don't send me home. I need this shift. My wife is about to give birth anytime soon, and I need this shift. I need the money." So the chef understood, the head chef understood, and he said, okay, fine, just go to my office and you will find a pair of black shoes under my office table. So Arjun, the lead character, goes, wears the shoes, which clearly was too small for him. And so he just suffered through the whole shift with painful feet. Alam mo yun, parang pagtsagaan na lang dahil ayoko mawala ng trabaho at kailangan ko ng pera, manganak na yung aking asawa. Right? So I thought that was an important, detail. But at some point in the film, this chef gathers all the employees of the hotel, and he said there are many VIPs arriving at the hotel today. And he mentioned this particular, I forget who the client was, but there was this like big party that was gonna happen in one of the main suites. And he said, I need somebody from the team who will be the butler. And so Arjun raises his hand and he said, sir, please choose me, please choose me. I need the money, and I know these VIP guests give big tips. I need the money. And he goes, but you were late today. You wore the wrong shoes. No, I'm gonna give it to this guy. So the assignment was given to this small guy who was so happy, and he said, okay, what room is it? I'm there. And the head chef said, parang, oh, dapat alam mo, you should know the kind of wine that he drinks. And this little guy, this little waiter couldn't even pronounce the French term. Basta, long story short, he wasn't a good match for the job. Arjun was, right? He was professional, he knew the name of that French wine, but wala na-bad shot na siya sa chef eh. So, sorry. Fast forward, the coordinated attacks begin in the train station, one of the biggest train stations in Mumbai. There were 10. There were 10 terrorists who came into India. I think they came from Pakistan or something. They rode the boat, hijacked the boat, entered, just organized, like 2 terrorists per landmark. And of course, the iconic Taj Hotel was one of the targets. So the terrorists enter. And here's the thing. They start killing the people in the lobby, and they start going floor by floor, knocking on each door. Pag may sumagot na tao, when somebody answers the door, they swing open the door. They mercilessly just took the lives of all the guests, whoever was hiding, basta. There were like 1,500 hostages, and I don't know how many people lost their lives that day. But one of the first people whom they killed, whose door they knocked on, syempre, they would go for the suites, right? All these rich people partying in their rooms. So one of the terrorists knocks on the door, and who answered the door? That waiter. And I remember Arjun seeing that on the CCTV camera, the dead body of his friend by that door of that suite. And there's this moment, kita mo sa mukha ni Arjun, you could see it in his eyes, that could have been me. I need money, I need to feed my family, and my wife was gonna give birth to my second child. And I wanted that this morning. But because of the shoes that I forgot, because I was late today, because of that one thing that I forgot to bring this morning, that shoe, that missing shoe that got left behind. Because of that, I'm still alive. From start to finish, it was like a 2-hour, 15-minute film. I kid you not. Shooting pretty much every second of that movie. Grenades. It was a merciless movie. And the fact that it is not fiction, nakaka-disturb. And it's not like it's not happening right now. It continues to happen. Terrorism, death, injustice. And it's always the poor who are in the front line of, who are always the victim, right? In the end, the Arjun character, survives. He saves many lives. And he goes home in his motorcycle with bare feet. There was this one scene that he took off the shoes of his boss and his toes were bleeding because they were tiny shoes. But he wore those shoes from start to end, helping people escape from these terrorists, hiding them in the restaurant, in the secret passageways of the hotel, in those tight, painful shoes. And it was so symbolical to me that when the movie ended, he was in his bare feet, riding that motorcycle, just stunned and shocked as to what just happened. Just humbly went home to be in the arms of his wife and his daughter. So, when I watched that, syempre, sobra akong napagod ba? Siya yung tipong film na hindi ka makakain ng popcorn, hindi ka makakainom ng basta, knowing that it happened, knowing that to this day, there are countries, there are people in the world who continue to suffer that way, mercilessly, without warning, no? But I don't want you to focus on the death here. What really struck me was that because of that one mistake, right? Because of that one unintentional, diba, decision to be late to work that day. That was precisely what saved him and gave him another day to be with his family, another day to be, employee of the year of that hotel, another day to just live and be. He was such a kind soul. I think he's a fictional character, eh. But I read somewhere that this character from that movie, Arjun, is a composite of many of the staff members of that hotel who acted with so much valor and courage. And, you know, some of them, the staff members could have just easily escaped through the secret passageways. But some of them stayed. They stayed. There was even this one guy, sabi niya, he's been serving the hotel for 34 years. He has a family, he has children. He could have easily escaped when the attacks were just beginning, but he retreated and he said, "No, I'm going to, our what you call it, our clients are our God, and it is our duty to take care of them and do what we can to ensure their safety." So it made me think, maybe there are many things in our lives that happen and we don't realize that they were silent miracles. That maybe that one day that we were delayed, we got late, or something we prayed for didn't happen, or we bumped into a person and because of seeing this person we didn't get to see the next person because I don't know, that person already went home or something like that. But there are many things that happen in our life and we focus on the fact that we were late or the fact that we lost something. But in truth, just having seen that, gosh, I wonder how many miracles in my life have happened so far that may have actually lengthened my life, right? That I'm still here alive speaking to you. And these are the graces that we forget to thank God for. Those little mishaps, those little mistakes that actually gave us another day to live and to breathe. Going home, nakafocus yung camera dun sa paa. It was focused on the bare feet of this waiter. So, kuha naman tong waiter na to. After everything he's done, wala mang palakpak, wala mang, wala mang thank you from the people who saved him. And yet, oh my gosh, napaganon ako, nakafocus sa paa niya. It was precisely because of what he forgot, of his poverty, that saved him. It was his poverty that saved him. Wow. Ngayon ko lang na-realize yun. In that movie, there was this lead character, I think he's Australian or American or something. You would have thought that he would be the lead star. Alam mo na, Hollywood, right? You would expect, this good-looking guy, this white guy, would be the savior of the day. But he died, right? Or you would think, these rich people who have this access to this special chamber, they're specially protected from the terrorists, they'll survive. Not all did. Arjun, oh my gosh, this Arjun character who keeps on, putting himself in dangerous situations. He lived. He lived another day. Maybe he's not, like there's not a specific Arjun character, a real Arjun character in the 2008 terrorist attack, but he is a representation of all those staff members, like over 500, I think, staff members who served, who died, who sacrificed themselves for the benefit of the hotel clients that day. In connection to that, today I just came from a wake of the family of my good friend, and what was so shocking about this, the wake that I came from, is that my friend not only lost her grandmother, but on the very same day also her auntie, her tita. They died in a car accident. It was a head-on collision. I'll spare you the details, but imagine losing your grandmother and your aunt on the same day, right? And they were just doing something ordinary, random. Actually, not random, ordinary. Just going home to Batangas to their rest home there. It's something that her lola and her tita do regularly. That's nothing new. They know the road, they know the way, and yet that very day, mm, you know, as she explained to me, alam mo naman yung mga kalye sa probinsya, the roads in the provinces, it's usually one way and the roads are quite narrow, right? And so it's inevitable for you to need to overtake, right? Overtake a car in front of you that's driving slow. And that overtaking caused her uncle, who was driving, to come head to head with another car, which he didn't see because there was a tricycle before that without his lights on. I mean, who does that? Driving 8, 9 p.m. without their lights on. Diba? And for those who drive in the streets of the provinces, there are barely any street lights. You are dependent on the lights of your own car. And so this, head-on collision took the lives of two beautiful women, her grandmother, aged 97, and her tita, who's a pediatrician. And though I never knew these two women, of course, any friend of mine, former college, grade school, high school friend of mine, will always be dear to me. And her loss is also my loss, di ba? Grabe, no? Ang buhay ganon, in one snap of a finger. You might have been talking to that person yesterday, and then today they're with our Lord. And with the story of Arjun, there were many instances in that film that he could have died, you know? And yet, as I said, it all began with that pair of shoes. That his life could have been cut short easily had uh, he been given the chance to be butler of that suite, right? Of that party. But it wasn't his time. It wasn't his day. Putting those two things together, the movie and, the week that I just came from. Diba, a lot of our millennials and young people like saying YOLO. I don't know if the Gen Z people still say that. But YOLO meaning you only live once. And I realized, no you only die once. I just realized you only die once. But you have the chance to live every day. There's so many opportunities, so many chances to just live and be and love and serve the best we can. And we never really know. We never really know when and how, this one death will come. But it's just one death. But you have many days of life to live. And let's just be grateful today that perhaps, whether it was conscious or unconscious, a decision that we may have made, or maybe the direction God led us to, allowed us to breathe another day today, and He spared us from something that could have been potentially disastrous. The gift of a day is something we often take for granted. That you only live once should not be a limitation. You only live once, so do it. Live a dangerous life. Hindi eh. It's more of you only die once. But I believe we have so many chances every day. Our merciful and compassionate God gives us so many chances every day to live, to live, to live the best way we can. And if things don't always go as planned, think about Arjun. You're still alive, you're still here. Just maybe that was God's redirection for us to give us another day to live.